Hi, I'm Jen Magee in the math department. So I just want to take a few minutes to walk you through a tour of my Canvas course. So this is my Intro to Math Modeling course from the spring semester. So as soon as we kind of did this transition to remote learning, I changed the homepage of my course to the modules section. So you can see I have different modules laid out here. We were just about to start a new topic whenever this all happened. So our new topic was difference equations. And I have a couple different modules here. I kind of tried to group similar topics together to kind of condense them. And then you can see they have a project down here. And then the last thing was their final exam. So just to maybe kind of look at one of these modules. I have a variety of different things in here. So some of these are just pages where you can just kind of basically just have text. So this was kind of an introduction of, maybe for the students that haven't used these before, for how to use the modules and what to expect. This was a cool video that somebody had shared with me that includes some cool math topics that we had talked about a little bit earlier in the semester. So I shared that video here. That wasn't directly related to the class, but it was an interesting thing. So then the next thing here I have is this is difference equation intro PDF. So this is kind of taking the place of the notes that I would do in class. Basically, it's a text version of the things that I would say and the things that I would write on the board during a traditional lecture. So you can see I have kind of text and then examples as well. I indented the examples just to make sure that they were a little bit more easy to find, just to kind of make things easier to look at. And then I have the solution underneath as well. I put my definitions in bold, and then you can see there are also practice questions. So these are similar to the example that's above, but I have a couple different places I've labeled them all as practice. So there's more of those down here. So then with those practice questions, the next thing in the module is a quiz. So it has the same title as the notes so that they kind of pair up. And then for the quiz, it is a graded quiz, but I gave no time limit and unlimited attempts because I really wanted this to be analogous to the time that we spend in class working on practice problems. And during this time, I would usually be walking around the classroom and kind of helping students as they get stuck or as they have questions, maybe checking their work. So I put the questions in kind of the PDFs and the notes, and then it's the exact same questions on the quiz so that they can work on those while they're reading through the notes, and then go ahead and just enter their answers in for the quiz. And since these are mostly numerical answers, some of them are multiple choice, they can get immediate feedback. I mean, that's what works for this class anyway. So that's how most of the structure is. I have, as you can see, I indented the quizzes just one level in the modules so that they would be a little bit set off. And then maybe the other thing, something that's just a little bit different. For instance, here I put in, this is a link to a YouTube video that I did of how to use a software like Excel to graph a difference equation. And then maybe I'll show you this one as well. So this is just another set of notes, but here's an example, and then the solution. As you can see, it's kind of long, and since this is, a general education course, some of the students can be a little bit math phobic, and maybe looking at this big wall of text doesn't really help them to understand how to solve that problem. I did put a link here to a YouTube video that I made on my iPad. So I have the exact same problem here, and then I just talked through the problem while I was writing and working it out. So I think that kind of replicated the classroom experience a little bit more. And several students did say they preferred seeing it in this manner than trying to read the text and figure out what was going on from there. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about here was the announcements. So this was a class that met Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. So I started, I don't know, maybe in the first or second week of this remote learning, I would post one announcement a week that basically outlined what they should be doing this week. So here's an example. So at the beginning, I would usually say hi or good morning or whatever, kind of like I would do in a face-to-face class. And then, for instance, this was a virtual visit from a speaking center consultant because I had planned for that to happen before we went remote. So the consultant was kind enough to do a YouTube video for the class. So I shared the link with them here, and then they had a very short quiz on it. But maybe a better example would be, so here's one of my announcements. I always tried to remind them in every announcement that they could always reach me via email. So I put my email address in there, which is of course hyperlinked. And then I did a bulleted list of here's what you should be working on this week for our class. So here's a link to the notes. So we were talking about different values and how that can affect a difference equation. So I put the notes here and then again the corresponding quiz. So I put links to those. So those were due on Wednesday. And then the next thing was solving a difference equation, and then the quiz is due on Friday. So to get these links in here, if you just edit the announcement, let me get that video out of the way. So for instance, if I wanted to link to something here, you can just use this link button here. It kind of looks like a paperclip. You can do external links or course links, but if you're wanting to link to something in Canvas, you would just do the course links. And then you can link to basically anything that's in your page, in your Canvas, whether it's a file. So usually I link to the quizzes and it gives you a list of all the quizzes that you have. In this case, maybe I want to link to a module. That would be this one. And you can see it just puts the link there and it makes it in blue. So I don't want to save that. So I did try to keep the announcements to once a week, just to kind of make sure the students had everything in one place. But occasionally you can see I did have some extras in here. So for instance, I posted about the new grading option to make sure the students kind of knew what the effects would be for our class. And then I also wanted to remind them that since this class was speaking intensive, that they couldn't just skip the last speaking assignment, but they actually had to do it. So I just put in the caveat, which was already in the syllabus, but I just wanted to remind them that they had to do that to pass the course. So I hope that helps in kind of thinking about how to set up a class online. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to help. So thanks.